On that note, welcome everybody. Good morning, good morning. So some of us obviously have hangovers this morning. I see Guy has got a rechtmaker there. So we're going to kick off the morning on a high note by the looks of things. So welcome everybody. Second day of June. Can you believe it? Halfway through the year already. Time has just flown by. Anyway, Leigh, over to you to kick us off.
Well, morning everyone. It's at the middle of the year, well, almost. And so now we launch ourselves into, somebody said, a friend of mine, in fact, Irene, who's popped in here once, she wrote on her Facebook status that round about this time she was supposed to be in Bali. And so I replied to her and I said, well, 2020, the year that wasn't. And so there are many things that we planned at the beginning of the year. 2020, we had this vision, we had this idea. This is what our year was going to be like, and everything's changed. And it's tempting then to think, well, what is the vision? And to sort of, because you had these ideas and this maybe grand plans, because 2020 seemed like such an auspicious year, to then, how do we reinvent ourselves? How do we follow a new vision or adapt our vision or continue with our vision? And so today is all about, as you can tell, it's all about vision. And I would like to just read to you from a Forbes article that was written a day or so ago, or just a couple of days ago now, on Elon Musk. Obviously, because he's now launched these two astronauts to this space station, and SpaceX, a private company. No one in the world ever thought a private company would enter the space race or be part of the space venture. And so this is what he has to say. And let me tell you, he's not a fan of Elon Musk. So there's some things that he finds about his personality, and I think that's something that we can even talk about is, do visionaries have prickly personalities and rub people up the wrong way because they keep pushing the boundaries? So, but this is what he says: one person with a vision and help can change history. In fact, for better and for worse, it is often the only thing that ever does. Elon certainly didn't accomplish this latest feat alone, but it would not exist without his vision, initiative, and perseverance. No government committee instructed its creation. He was the spearhead. Talking about great things is what philosophers and government officials do. Doing great things is what engineers do every day, and we're all glad that it's finally being recognized again. Heck, Elon never even had any formal business training and wasn't considered a real CEO before SpaceX. So I just use that as an introduction to say, what does it take to be a visionary? And are you a visionary? Is it something that there are certain people who are visionaries? Or do we all have a vision? And even if that vision is not to get humanity to live on Mars, what is our vision? So I leave that in your hands now to talk about our 2020 vision.
Great, thanks Leigh for that. Yeah, it always reminds me of a quote that I love, and it goes along these lines. It says, what is the difference between a reasonable person and an unreasonable person? And the answer is quite simply this: a reasonable person tries to adapt themselves to the world, but the unreasonable person tries to adapt the world to themselves. And therefore, all progress is due to the unreasonable person. So I think that's the kind of thing we're talking about here is, who's unreasonable in adapting the world to suit their own agendas, and Elon's certainly one of those. So Yeah, great way to kick off the session. So, who shall we start off with this morning? Guy, let's go to you, seeing that you busy with some interesting things to drink there this morning.
No, it's just I've had my smoothie and I'm onto my Coca-Cola, I love this stuff. Just talking about vision, it's obviously, let's not talk the obvious, but I suppose to get to your vision, you've got to know your purpose. And I suppose a lot of people nowadays should be saying why, just asking why. Why is that my purpose? Why is that my vision? And just sitting down quietly and having a look at, and I would break it into two: the vision for the next 6 months, and then the vision for longer term. A lot of people have longer term visions, which is excellent. So I suppose just in pint size, because we're in a different market now, to say my vision for the next 6 months is X, Y, Z, and this is why, and then take it from there. So that's what I'm simply doing, and have done for a while. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Guy. Let's go across to Umpo, looking smart this morning, Umpo. So let's hear what your thoughts are.
I was called a lockdown criminal because I went to the hairdresser. Hi everyone. Interesting topic. So, and I'm glad Ndilega is here because it seems to be the only thing we talk about these days. What's the vision? What's the plan? What's the future? What are we doing? And I think for me, this whole idea for myself around quality of life is a big vision. But I think also playing a role in the market research industry has become a very big thing for me. It's something that it's a legacy I would like to leave behind. Actually, the reason why I was in there yesterday is because we're launching a series of webinars with with some big names in the research industry to talk about the future of market research in South Africa and how we're going to transform it. So I'm incredibly excited because this thing that I've been wanting to do for so long, it's now unfolding and there's been great partnership. So yeah, in terms of vision, I think for me, I would love to see the market research industry open up, be more inclusive, be more diverse, be more innovative, to really catch up with the rest of the world.
Great, thanks, Umpo, and all the best for this new direction. So good luck with it. Look forward to hearing more about it as we go along. So, seeing that she picked on you, Ndaleka, let's come across to you and and find out what your thoughts are on this one.
Morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly. I don't have my earphones today. We're good. Okay. So, firstly, I'm so sad I missed the past 2 sessions, and I had no idea what today was about, but I was like, okay, I need to just get on there. So I see we're talking about vision. I think for me, my vision right now, like is saying, personally, I have been saying this is the time where I figure out my purpose and I put it out there. I have been speaking about turning your passions into a purpose a couple of weeks ago, and that is where I want to go, because for me, that is who I am. That is a chance that is going to showcase me, my authentic self, and what it is that I have to offer, which is so much as far as I'm concerned, but I have not been able to package everything into something that makes sense and put it out there to say, right, this is now what I'm selling as Ndilega, as the African. I'm very deep rooted in being African, so this is what I'm working on, and I am hoping in the next couple of weeks I'm starting a blog very soon. I'm going to be able to put it down and put it out there so that, yeah, everyone can finally get to hear what it is that I am saying is my purpose.
Right, fantastic. And again, yeah, it sounds exciting, and all the best with that one as well. So great. Let's go across to Kevin. Kevin, good morning.
Hi, morning everyone. Vision, I think there's a very distinct difference between long-term and short-term vision. I don't know, I struggle to relate to some of these great pioneers with the vision like Elon Musk, and I just can't imagine being of that type of ilk. But I suppose if there were too many like that, it would probably confuse the world, and things wouldn't happen. But I don't know. On a personal front, my vision is probably 6 months to 12 months vision. Is to get the business to a residual income stage. That's what I'm really aiming to be at, a substantial residual income stage. I've started the ball rolling. I'm getting there. But the nice thing about what I'm doing to get that residual income is I'm helping other people while I'm getting there. And the more people I can help, the quicker I can get there, and then get there as well. So yeah, that's the vision, to get their residual income without writing a book or writing a song.
Great, thanks, Kevin. Yeah, it's always good to help others along the way, and if you can help yourself while helping others, that's a fantastic way to go about it. So good luck with that. Herman, let's come across to you. Good morning.
Morning all. Ivan, you made a remark earlier about what's his name again? The guy who shot the guys to the moon.
Elon Musk.
I don't think we need to be crazy, but I think being a non-conformist is definitely conducive of being a visionary. And I'd like to share my personal vision as well as a vision statement I once wrote about South Africa. My personal vision is a world that encourages everyone to live their true potential. That was particularly clear when I was involved in coaching, that this was something that kind of motivated me being a coach. And when the National Development Plan came out in South Africa 2030, they had 13 pages dealing with vision. It was a nice work literally, but that's for me, it's not a vision statement. The vision statement should be fairly short. And that triggered, if you like, my own, it triggered my thinking. What would I like to see this country to be, and what kind of vision would I like to see for South Africa? And I have to read it to you, it's not very long. A South Africa where peace, justice, fairness, and respect for one another are the pillars of our society. A country where people are free to build meaningful lives and realize their dreams, and where, true to our Constitution and the Bill of Rights, the democratic values of human dignity, equality, and freedom are the cornerstone of our nation. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Herman. And yeah, my vote for Herman for president, so I go for it. So that's a great vision for any country, I think. So very nice. Right, Solomon, let's come across to you this morning. Good morning.
Can you hear me now? Okay. So, yeah, it's very interesting. I think one of the desires that I have in my heart is to be able to really impart the whole thing of fatherhood into the lives of many men. As a young man in the past, there's been a wound of fatherhood. So it's one of the things that are really stirring inside of me. The other thing as well is to find a way to be able to release the exhortation gift that is in my life. I find myself where I am, just being able to exhort people, encourage people, and show them what to do, etc., etc. So I'm trusting just to find ways to put that into a system where I can actually do that full time as well. All right, thanks.
Great, thanks, Solomon. Right, Sally, let's come across to you.
Hello, everybody. Morning. Okay, so Leigh, I think Leigh asked the question about what the difference is between vision and hope. I actually Googled it. Okay, so vision is defined as a state of being able to see, and hope is defined as the feeling and desire for a particular thing to happen. So in terms of my own vision for this year, it's sort of changed direction. But I think it's always, I'm not going to say change really direction. It's always been the same. I just, just the way that I'm going to get there is different. And I think it's at the moment, the vision for me is just to get my business off the ground and just to be successful. And I think that has always been the vision, but along the way it's changed. But I've always had my eye on that goal. And yeah, so I think being a visionary just means also one of the characteristics, I think, of being a visionary. If you think of Elon Musk, is not to give up. Things don't always work out. Things don't always go as you plan, but you got to make it work for yourself. You have to make a way. That's all about seeing the vision. Yeah, you've got to make the way. And also, I think I am talking about thinking what Herman said about a non-conformist. Well, and Ivan said about the non-conformist is that I think I am in a very good space at the moment in terms of everybody working remotely, and it's good for me in terms of launching my business. So yeah, it's just the vision. That sounds okay, cool.
Great, thanks, Ellie. Donovan, let's come across to you.
Morning, everyone. Hope you can hear me.
Donovan, you're quite faint. I don't know if you can perhaps get in a little bit closer to your mic.
Okay, is it better now? Hope it's better. A little bit better. Okay, in terms of my view of vision,
Sorry, Donovan, you somehow muted yourself again then. I can't seem to unmute you, so just...
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, what Miles Monroe said, he said, vision is about seeing something before you see it. So in terms of what Jasper encouraged us is to...
So, sorry, Donovan, you're very faint. You're going to have to speak up a bit.
Managed to do that, and within it, So in terms of my vision, I actually wrote it down in the Dream Chart book. If I can read it to you, it says, to be committed to building a strong, solid, and healthy family and marriage. And then within that, I actually stipulate some specific goals with specific time frames, which I'm working on and which I'm working on with my family. And one of them you can see in the screen, my dream car. So I visualize that amongst other things, and hopefully one day I will see it in reality. That's vision for me. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Donovan. Yeah, and I think a visualization board can be a very powerful tool when used correctly. So yeah, it's a great concept, great idea. Morning, Sarah. Let's come across to you.
Hi, thanks, Ivan, and good morning to everybody. Sure. One of my favorite quotes, I've got many, but one of my favorite quotes is by Frantz Fanon. And he says, each generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its mission, fulfill it or betray it. And that for me is tied really to vision and part of what I do. I am also of the belief that vision is tied to purpose. And if vision is tied to purpose, there's not a single person in this world who does not have a purpose, meaning there's not a single person who doesn't have vision. It's just that other people's visions puts them on the forefront, but other people's vision are in the back. I mean, I've got someone who believes that their vision is to support visionaries, and that's their vision, that's their heart, that's what they want to see and fulfill. And it doesn't mean that their vision is less because it's behind the scenes. My vision, you know, just to share that very quickly, basically, is very simple. And this is my long-term vision, which is what I live for every day, is to see a reformed South Africa, and I play in that space in different ways. Key to that for me is youth empowerment, youth development in all forms, in character, in life, in education, etc. And the second one, which is the key focus within the reformation of South Africa that I believe I will see in my lifetime, is the transformation of public service. And that is the space within which I play right now. And I run a company that seeks to particularly do that. So this year, beginning of the year, what we wanted to do was to actually launch some of the modules that we developed ourselves. But now with the COVID, we had to put that on hold. But we haven't put that on hold though, because I'm working behind the scenes to actually refine these modules. And one of the ones I'm excited about is what I call the soul healing intervention, which for me is a space that I play in every day to ensure, because that is my drive. I want to see a transformed public service. I want to see public servants realizing again what their calling is as servants. And just as a mom, as a parent, day by day, it's also to become the best role model for my kids. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Sarah. Jasper, let's get across to you.
Hi there. I have a problem with my video today, but in terms of vision, I'm thinking of how circumstances often help you sharpen and clarify your vision. And you know, as your options narrow, your vision sharpens in terms of, if all else fails, what do I want to be busy with? And I think the example of Elon Musk and people like Walt Disney and all these other people's stories that we hear today didn't have a straight road to their vision. I think it was a stop, start, come back, go forward. But if I can find that vision, it's almost like there's something in you that you just need to work it out and make it visible for the world to see. And your challenge is, how do I work it out so that I can let the world see what I mean by having this thing in the world? And it ticks a whole lot of boxes to say, yes, it will be to the benefit of society, it will create a better society, whatever. But we all have a different view of what that better society will be. So I think for me, vision is then this thing that you constantly work at, and there's constantly a healthy trade-off between the provision of resources and making your progress. And a real visionary is not set back by the lack of resources. He just finds another way to get there. And if I think of what Elon Musk is doing, I think he started off with something that was purely IT and some sort of payment system. And now he's in he's in cars, he's in solar, he's in tunnel, boring, high-speed stuff. But I think if you probably talk to him and ask him, everything he does is with his vision of what will the world be like on Mars, where it's an inhabitable circumstances. So the solar, the tunnel boring, the electric cars, all of that are little complementary components to his vision of getting to Mars. And I think a lot of people, you don't understand him until you can identify their core vision, because all the other stuff they do leads up to the fulfillment of that core vision. So that's my contribution.
Right, thanks, Jasper. Cecile, let's come across to you.
Sure. You guys are all so academic today. It frightens me. My vision for the year was to retire. Not retire in the normal sense of the word, but RETYRE. To move to Jeffreys Bay and to go and do what I'm doing from there. And then now it looks like the chit chat will probably be only the spare tire because it's not sustaining a retirement without having to work very hard for it. But so I'll have to stay in Johannesburg for a little longer to do the retirement here, but it changed my business fundamentally. So I don't have, and I'm definitely not a visionary. I'm just kind of a one day-to-day doer. So I take my hat off to all of you that are these deep visionaries. I think I've struggled my whole life to actually have a big vision that I can live towards. I just want to be a happy family person that's be well-rounded. So that's all I've been trying to. That's a vision. That's my vision.
Great, thanks, Cecile. Steve, welcome back. Have you got some interesting news for us yet, or we're still waiting on tenterhooks there?
Well, Ivan, thanks. Good to be back with you guys. Nice to see some familiar faces. I think I was just thinking about what Cecile was just saying in terms of visionary. I think sometimes it can be quite an intimidating term. It sounds like the people standing on the top of the mountain, leading the way for all of humanity. And I've never been one to have these dramatic visions each year that I'm writing down and telling everybody I'm going to accomplish this or the next thing in each year. But I have discovered that a visionary is not necessarily so dramatic, and I do think it applies to every person. And it is very much just down to what you see in yourself and what you want to see in yourself and what you want to see in your life and in the lives of those around you, society, the world, and whatever level it plays out on. And so I do think we all have visions. And I have some, and they change from time to time and from year to year. But I've never been very good at somebody who's set that down in few words and put it up above the doorway of my home so that everybody could see it to live by. Anyway, I'm just going to ease my way back in with just that for now. But nice to see you guys again.
Great, thanks, Steve. Right, Trevor, let's come across to you.
Yeah, so Cecile, I was going to begin today by just backing up on my comment of watching Phineas and Ferb yesterday and telling you that I woke up watching Henry Danger today on Nickelodeon. And then Steve Carter came on board, and I've now said I've got to up my game. But I still get all my intellectual insights from Cartoon Network and the quality of those productions. But now, let me just tell you about vision, because I'm highly visual. I only think in pictures. I battle to actually think in words. And to me, vision is a clear picture of where you want to go. Where you want to go personally, where you want to take your business. I hear people talking about where they want to take the country. I hear people talking about where they want to take the world. But if you do not have a clear end picture of exactly where you want to go, you're never, ever going to get there. So for me, I work on the analogy of a film producer, because if vision is a clear picture, the very best form of picture that really gives us an example of life is a movie. And when you go and study a movie, there are on average about 144,000 frames that make up an entire movie. And if you get into the movie producers' minds, the people who make millions, the people who influence where people go over almost 100 years now, they have a clear picture of the last frame of that movie. And they have an entire team of people who ensure that that movie, the 144,000 frames to get to that last frame, actually, they have people taking camera stills of what that end picture would be like. And then as they produce in the movie, so they start with the last frame in mind. And then they work backwards as to how each and every single one of those frames is going to get there. And they get guys with camera stills to actually start storyboarding. I heard someone talking about storyboarding and putting in a storyboard of how that vase is going to be there and that door is going to be there and this shot is going to be there. So you have a clear picture of the entire movie going forward, and these guys make millions of dollars. So I hope that's my little contribution to what vision is about. It's a clear picture of where you want to go. And then sometimes, you know what, you adjust a few of those little pictures. And the biggest giggle for me is watching movies, especially old movies, where the producers have been a little bit slack, or their team has been slack in putting back the pieces in the correct place after they shot different parts of the movies in different parts of the world and bring them all together again. But I think vision is absolutely critical in achieving whatever it is you want to achieve. Make it a clear vision.
Great, thanks, Trevor. And it reminds me of one of my favorite little quotes as well, and that is, you know, if you want the things that you look at to change, then you need to change the way you look at things. You know, if you just let that sort of sink in and think about it, it's a very, very powerful statement, because too often we are fixated on what we believe the situation is or what we believe the picture in front of us is. But if you just take the time to step back and look at it from a different angle, you can change the perspective, the perception, and even the way you react to those situations quite dramatically just by changing the way you look at it. So that's my little bit at the end. So Leigh, back to you to wrap up for today.
I'd like to pick up on that and just pull out this idea of vision a little bit more as not just something that we're looking at into the future and that clear picture of the final frame that Trevor's talking about, but our sight. What are we actually seeing? And I think it comes back to some of the chat discussions that we're having about hope and hopelessness, and what are we actually seeing that is allowing us to have a picture of the future that is possible, that there are opportunities that are available to us, and that comes from what we're seeing. And the word that comes to mind is abundance. So are we seeing abundance, or are we seeing lack of abundance? I lost that word.
Scarcity.
It's a good word to lose.
Scarcity.
Good word to lose.
Scarcity, yes. So can we then talk about, you know, our what we're seeing and this concept of abundance that it might be a little bit fuzzy, and people talk about it, but do we really know what we're talking about? So can we talk about that tomorrow?
Great. Okay. So have an abundant day, and we'll talk about abundance tomorrow. So fantastic day, everybody. Great seeing you all this morning, and see you again tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Go well. Cheers now.
Bye, everyone.